All right, welcome back to the Unnamed Movie Car Podcast, recording at you live from very deep under the Hoover Dam because we watched Transformers 2007. I'm Zach.
I'm Gary.
And what are your thoughts on Transformers 2007? You loved it. You loved the first Transformers movie.
Oh my gosh, where do I start? Where do I begin?
Well, directed by Michael Bay.
Yeah.
And
so things blow up.
produced by Steven Spielberg.
I know.
Oh, that's a downside for you.
No, I mean it was Stevie.
No, Steve.
Stevie.
It's starring Shia LaBeouf, Megan Fox, and Josh Duhamel.
Is he the
He's the
Marine?
soldier guy.
Hey, was that Tyrese or something in there?
Yeah,
Who was-
Tyrese Gibson.
Yeah.
One of the trivia facts that I didn't write down, he paid to be in the movie. According to IMDb. That's not a joke.
Ejectocito.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, that's him.
Which we'll watch in a future movie.
I'm sorry if you're listening to this and you're not, an animal that's home alone or something like that. I'm sorry for laughing.
No,
so much.
that's what it said, but
paid.
it didn't leave any more details.
Wow.
It
Wow,
said that
'cause
he just wanted the role really bad.
I like him as an actor and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, cool, he's in this
Yeah.
movie. So that was one of the redeeming.
Oh man, you know who else is in this movie?
One of the redeeming. Yeah.
Hugo Weaving,
Hugo Weaving.
who plays Megatron, is Mr. Smith from The Matrix.
No.
Yeah, he plays Megatron.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and then one more. Peter. What?
No, that's wow. Okay.
Peter Cullen, who voiced Optimus Prime. He also voiced the original Optimus Prime back in the cartoon.
Oh, he did.
So it was really cool to bring him back. He was the only.
Yeah, it was great.
There was one other guy that they brought back, but it was cool that they brought the original voice of Optimus Prime.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So why don't you like this movie?
Oh, gee. It's just
Yeah.
it's not my era of movies. Boy, so for this I was thinking about it. I'm going to sound so old.
Yeah.
I am the old guy here. So it all moves so fast.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
My brain, as small as it is, can't grasp everything that's going on. And I think, at least in my generation, for me or whatever, I try and figure out exactly what's going on the screen. Like if there's too much stuff going on, I swear this is.
It makes sense because the robots are digitally animated.
Yeah.
Some of them consisting of 60,000 individual pieces.
Jeez.
And each transformation process, when they transform from car to robot,
Right.
was done individually. And they transform in different ways.
Oh, jeez.
So, at first you see, the headlights move back and then it forms his feet.
Mm-hmm.
And, the body parts always end up in the same spot, but the way they get there is always different.
Yeah.
So the poor animators and these poor
Yeah.
interns that are probably pulling their hair out and,
Mm-hmm. Just like the Transformers we saw in Fremont Street or whatever in Vegas, right? The guys that have cardboard boxes strapped to their legs.
and we also
and they're
saw
like, yeah,
Iron Man.
We did.
Well, I feel like it was like Copper Man or something because
Yeah, I think so.
he was half scale.
He was. He was
Iron Man and Mr. T.
Mhm.
I have a picture of
Mr.
Iron
T.
Man and Mr.
Do you
T.
really?
Yeah. They're but only the half scale versions.
Right. Which is cool.
Which is what HO scale?
FO, yes.
Yeah.
HO, yeah. Yeah, no. So back to that whole thing about everything moving so quickly. Now everything blows up, of course, because it's a
Right.
Michael Bay movie.
Practical.
Practical. It's
No, 90. Besides the robots, it was
Okay.
almost all practical.
the explosions and
Yes.
stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then that's good.
Mhm.
I like practical,
Yeah.
stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it's not that I hated the movie, okay? I didn't, absolutely hate the movie. It just wasn't a movie that I could get that much into.
Mhm.
really like slim plot line. You know, if you think about the whole idea,
Yeah.
there wasn't much to go on. Okay, probably probably the biggest, fakest part of this entire movie.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Is that how you say his name? Shia LaBeouf.
I don't know.
Labatabo.
Pre-breakdown Shia LaBeouf.
Pre-break. Did he have a breakdown?
Oh my! You don't know.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Did he have a breakdown?
I mean, he's gone off
Peanut
the
Butter
deep end.
Falcon Man.
Well, that's like his like redeeming like return to
his
Hollywood.
return. Okay.
He went off the deep end for quite some while. I mean,
Oh,
he had
that's
like
sad,
an
then.
art installation, and then he got arrested at it, and he's always like
Oh.
free the mind, that sort of
Oh.
thing. Like,
Well, then I feel kind of bad for him.
yeah, he went to some awards ceremony with a brown paper bag on his head that just said, "I'm not famous anymore." Yeah, kind of breakdown stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it feels bad, but
All
whatever.
right, so
What's the least?
least realistic thing in the entire movie is Shia LaBeouf, Shyla,
Yeah,
and Megan Fox. Totally
Yeah.
the most, absolutely that would not happen. In
yeah.
real life.
Teenage heartthrob
Yeah.
Megan Fox.
Yeah.
Well, I never really liked, honestly.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so, but not even if he saved the universe, which I guess he kind of does. Yeah, she still
Sure.
wouldn't go for it.
Yeah.
It just isn't realistic. It's
Yeah.
fakey. But so you didn't like Megan Fox?
I've never really been a big Megan Fox fan. I mean, that was
Yeah.
very much one of those like poster girls of
Oh
my
yeah.
age.
Oh yeah.
I always thought that she was a little too snarky.
Oh,
And,
yeah,
and
yeah, that's putting it mildly.
now-
You're being nice.
Rewatching the movie today because I
Yeah.
watched it today.
Right.
When she pops the hood on the '77 Camaro
Yeah,
and she goes, "Nice headers."
yeah,
If you look at the engine bay, the headers are down so low.
yeah.
There's so much stuff on top that
Yeah.
you would notice first.
Right.
It-
Well,
it's
she
just
does
like-
mention the double pumper carb or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah,
Maybe she saw that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But wouldn't there be an air cleaner on top of that? I don't know.
Well, it looked
I
like
guess you
it
could
looked
see
like
the
the engine
carbs.
had ITBs, which is individual throttle bodies,
Oh, okay.
which
all right,
essentially which should have an air cleaner on each individual throttle body,
Yeah.
but for show you take them off.
yeah. Well,
So the fact that
maybe
he was driving around with no air cleaners on his ITBs is probably why the car broke down in the first place. But that's neither
Yes,
here nor there.
Yes, because that is a completely logical movie,
Yeah.
and everything has to
Right.
be. It's not fake. It's fact. It's
Here's
all
the thing.
science.
I love this movie so dearly.
Do you?
So dearly.
okay,
And
so what is it?
rewatching it today, I
Yeah.
re-fell in love with this
Did
movie.
you really?
And I
Okay.
remembered so much more
Wow.
than I thought.
Yeah.
I must have watched this movie like 100 times or something because almost every line I remembered.
No.
Yeah.
Really.
Yes.
Well, see, that's so funny because it just wasn't, anything to
Right.
me. But to you, huge difference.
Right. So
Absolutely
let's
different.
fit the time frame
Okay.
here. I was born in 97. This
Yeah.
movie came out in 2007. So I'm 10 years old when this came out.
Okay.
Seeing realistic. First of all, I loved cars since a
Yeah.
young age.
Yeah.
So seeing cars on the big screen is great.
Yeah.
But then you mix in cars that could turn into robots.
Yeah.
And like they have fight sequences and
Well-
chase sequences, and like the idea of a car being sentient is like super cool. Good sentient cars.
Okay, so
not Christine.
yeah. Well, that's the question because you really didn't like robots growing up. So now you've got cars that are robots and you like them. I don't.
Yeah,
what's
you know,
going on with that?
I don't know. I'm
All
a
right.
I'm a hypocrite.
No,
I admit
no,
I
you're
admit
just
that fully.
No, you're just a.
I don't know, it's-
something.
Maybe it's because the like a car being a robot is so far fetched. It's not real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not like
iRobot
a
with Will
humanoid.
Smith
Yeah, it's not like a.
could happen.
Yeah, it's not a
I
humanoid.
mean, like we're
or-
seeing stuff like that today. Like if you look at Boston Dynamics videos,
right.
they
oh,
have
Yeah.
walking, borderline talking robots.
Yeah.
Where like, I don't think a Pontiac Solstice is going to turn into a 2-story robot
Which,
anytime soon.
which, by the way, I love to watch the fails when the robots fall over.
Oh yeah, I
They're
mean, those are great. And they're
hilarious.
poked with sticks and fall
Yeah,
over,
exactly. So, but I see what you're saying about the Pontiac Solstice.
It's like far fetched enough to be fun,
yeah.
but not. I mean, it's really far
Well,
fetched. But
and think about the physics of a tiny car turning into a giant robot. I mean, how does that happen?
Right.
There had to be some sort of magic there.
And they push that further in later movies where like people are in the cars while they're transforming. And I'm
Ew.
like, that would be a blender.
Yeah.
like that would literally murder them.
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah. And then you just hear that wah, the Wilhelm scream. That's it.
That's right, exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many iconic moments in this movie for me.
Yeah.
When they're at the junkyard and they see the car
Yeah.
transform
Yeah.
and the lights
That is
coming
cool.
through.
That is cool.
Super cool.
Yeah.
When they're driving across the desert, dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Dun. I told you. I think I
Yeah.
told you last time.
You did.
I don't know if
You
this was
mentioned
on air, but I had that sound, that song,
Yeah.
on my Samsung Sunburst.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
It was the phone I had at the time, little flip up phone.
And you know what's funny is that
What?
I didn't even know what song that was, but I have it on my iTunes.
Oh, really?
Not on my iTunes. I have it on my what else do we have?
iTunes,
no,
Apple Music, I don't
no.
know. Spotify?
Spotify.
Yeah.
Shout out to Spotify.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if that was a famous song before this movie or not.
Well, when I heard it, I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And so I put it on my Spotify
Yeah.
favorites list, and then I saw it
Yeah.
in the movie. And I'm like, "Okay,
But
totally
when
makes sense."
They're first fighting the Scorpion Transformer, who
Yeah.
never transforms, by the way. The Scorpion's just always a Scorpion,
Oh yeah, that's
which
right.
is kind of
He's always
odd, but whatever. But when they scramble the jets,
Yeah.
and they start firing at him,
Yeah.
and Tyrese says, "Oh, he says bring the rain." I remember I
Yeah.
used to say that with my friends all the
Yeah.
time, like bring the rain.
Yeah.
That's such a badass fucking line. Like, just bring the.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm getting
Yeah.
fired up just thinking about it.
I know it is. It is cool. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Also, first F-bomb on the podcast.
I was gonna say you might
Wow.
want to bleep that out.
No,
I don't know. Okay.
no.
Wow.
We're staying
keeping
true.
it real.
I got a plate of cake next to me. I might eat
So
during
do-
this podcast. You did. You shoveled it down.
I shoveled.
This
In fact,
is-
I feel sick to my stomach right now. So I just want to let you know that.
I'll
Yeah.
carry you through this one.
I'm gonna full disclosure. Full disclosure.
Yeah,
I may,
a little bit
I
of
may- yeah.
inside baseball.
Yeah.
When we were talking about Fast and Furious, I had a whole thing of Reese's Pieces right beforehand, and you were
That is
like,
true. We
if you
tend
go
to
back
eat
to
like
the
a-
second episode,
Yeah, we tend to.
and
eat
you're
right
like,
before
hey,
this.
can you tell us about the 25-year rule? I think I just go, can we talk about it later?
You're kind of like.
Yeah, I was like, can we talk about that later?
Yeah.
I was
mean,
like having like flat. I thought I was gonna like evaporate like in Avengers, just turn into dust in the middle of the
charcoal dust,
podcast.
Yeah, and I would have just
Um,
kept talking.
Yeah, but so many iconic moments in this movie. And like I said, I like grew up with this movie and like
Yeah, it's
seeing
good,
the
yeah.
cool cars on
Yep.
screen. And I
Yep, yep,
remember
yep.
we had this DVD in the car when we would go to the lake, which was 3 hours away.
Yeah.
I remember one summer we went to the lake. You know
Yes.
what lake I'm talking about?
Shelby.
Yeah, and we had that, and then we rented the Transformers video game from Blockbuster for PlayStation
Yes,
2,
we did, from
which was
Blockbuster.
such a cool game
Yeah.
because you could transform whenever you wanted. So
Wow.
you would run through a level, and then it was like you hit X or something. Yeah, you hit X, and then you turn into a car, and you drive, and you go off a
Yeah.
ramp, and you could transform midair,
Wow,
or you
that
didn't
is
have
cool.
to, or you didn't have to. You could just ramp,
Wow.
and
That's fun.
that was
Yeah.
so cool.
That would
And
be
it was
fun,
just
yeah.
there's this sort of like wonderment with this movie.
Yeah.
When the
Yeah.
other Autobots start coming in from the sky, and
Yeah.
you're like, ooh, who's coming? Like
Right.
like you don't know
right.
like what form they're gonna pick or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that was sort of the magic, and that's not to be said about the rest of the Transformers movies because you kind of already know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, there's gonna be more robots. And so that's my favorite part of this movie is like the boyhood wonderment almost of like
Right.
what is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean it is cool, and it was fun to see them do this stuff. I mean, the one thing too. I mean, I guess I look at it differently because there's the whole bit where, Shyla and Megan. I'm just gonna call them Meg because I don't remember their actual names in the movie, but
Yeah. I found out the girl's name in the movie, which I forgot, who's played by Megan Fox, is just a play on Michael Bay's name. It's Michaela
oh, okay,
Bai or something.
Michaela,
It's like
okay,
literally
okay.
just a
like
play
an
on Michael Bay's name.
anagram, an anagram
Yeah.
of my. Okay,
Yeah, but
Michael
go
Bay.
on.
So, yeah, well, not too. Anyway, but yeah, so Michaela and Witwicky,
Yeah,
Ladies
Sam
Man
Witwicky,
127.
Yeah.
Say it was Sam. Okay, it's
217, Michael Bay's
217.
birthday.
Oh my gosh,
I
are you
know.
serious? Wow.
Yeah.
That's a little bit wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's self-indulging there. So, no, when they're in the house and it's the first time that Michaela goes to Sam's house and his parents are there,
Yeah.
and all of the Transformers are around the house. Literally,
Oh,
they have
yeah.
got
I mean,
to be completely blind. You look out
Yeah.
any window, there's lights everywhere. You look out one window in any direction, and you're going to see a giant
easily.
robot.
Yeah.
So as long as they kept that going, I was like, come on.
I loved the part though where he was like hide, and then they all just transformed back into cars.
Yeah.
He's like, "What is it? This isn't a truck stop.
Right.
Like, what are you guys doing?" I thought
That is
I thought
funny.
that was
That
a
is-
funny scene
it
because I
was.
was like,
It
"Oh,
was.
these robots really wouldn't know like etiquette or whatever." You know what I mean? Hiding to
Yes.
them is just
to
transforming into a
transform.
car.
Yeah.
But no, I totally understand. And like, they wouldn't make a noise. Like all those mechanical
Right.
pieces, like
Exactly.
there's no way that So
Yeah.
I mean, pretty tongue in cheek, but also I love the characters of the parents, the Witwicky parents.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually, and I've only seen bits and pieces of the other movies, okay? So I've seen where they become more quote unquote hip,
Yeah.
you know, as the movies go on. At first, they're kind of jerks. And
Yeah.
and so I was like, oh, okay, here we go,
They-
you know, with the stereotypical jerk parents. and
They
stuff.
carry on throughout all the movies, kind of like, but it's
And don't
like,
get me wrong, parents are jerks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna totally give you
100%,
that, 100%. Yeah.
like, yeah,
So
sitting next to one. But
hey ho,
hey, I'll be here a week because I live here.
right?
So will you. But no, I've always liked the parents. They're very much foils. They're just
Yeah.
like, you know, they're never important to the plot line, but they
No,
always,
I think
the
that
dad is always hard on him, and the
Yeah.
mom is always kind of aloof or whatever, you
Right.
know, a fluff or
Yeah.
whatever you call it.
Yeah.
But I just love this movie so much.
Yeah.
I really, really do. Let's get to some cars real quick. I know we're
What?
short
But-
on time.
Yeah, a little bit today
because
but
we
we're only
actually
at
have
17.
lives.
Yeah,
But first of all, 1977 Chevy Camaro. So that's the old Bumblebee.
and that was cool. By the way, did you notice it was right next to a yellow Volkswagen Bug?
That's in the trivia.
Okay,
That is in
never
the
mind.
trivia. Yeah,
All
I
right,
didn't.
I didn't see
You
the
know, I
notes, so-
noticed that on this time around,
You
but I
did.
never made that connection as a kid.
You know, I didn't until you told me before that Bumblebee was originally a Volkswagen VW.
Right? Yeah.
And so when you said that and I noticed the VW, I was like,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
wonder if he noticed
And
that.
if you notice, that car gets dented.
It does?
That's the first car that gets dented.
no.
Yeah, so it's like a
wow.
little homage. There's another
Okay,
homage
alright.
too. Jazz, the Pontiac Solstice,
Yeah.
used to be a Porsche 911.
Ah.
I think like a Targa too.
Yeah.
So when they're going to pick the used car,
Yeah.
they drive through the Porsche lot. So that was supposed to be a little bit of a stretch,
Okay,
but
yeah,
a little
it
bit of a
bit
nod
stretch.
to
It is a little bit of a stretch, but
the
you know.
80s cartoon there.
Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't like Michael Bay Warehouse Emporium that
Yeah.
they drive through, you know, because
He's also in the movie.
oh jeez,
That's our very last trivia fact.
Mikey,
But it's kind of funny how he's in the movie. So
All right, Mikey and Stevie, come
yeah.
on, I gotta talk to you guys. Come over here.
Next
Sit down.
up,
All right. yeah.
2007 Chevy Camaro concept.
Oh wait,
So
that
I don't
was-
know if you know this.
No,
The
go-
Chevy Camaro was redesigned essentially for this. It didn't come out until 2008. This
Oh.
movie was 2007, and it
So
was
that
shot
one-
in 2006.
that one hadn't come out.
No. So
wow,
they
okay.
took a concept car,
Yeah.
put it onto a different GM chassis. I read online that it was a Pontiac G8. I read online that they just shoved this concept car onto a chassis, and then the movie came out, and everyone was like, "Hey, I want to buy the new Camaro."
Okay.
And Chevy was like, "You're gonna have to wait 2 more years." I think it was actually 2009 that the
Did
Camaro
it?
came out.
Yeah.
2008 or 2009.
Yeah.
I think it was 2008 for the 2009 model year. But anyway, like, so it was actually literally they had only 4 of them for the movie.
Yeah.
And it was just a concept car that
Cool.
had been modified using a different GM chassis. So it wasn't even a real
yeah.
car yet.
It was a cool car though.
Very
I
cool.
I like that style
Yeah.
of the Camaro, but and the best part, of course, is when it transforms to the new Camaro and it's
Yeah.
and
Which,
you hear that music. Yeah.
you know that song?
No, but I love that song.
So that song,
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, so that song also plays, apparently, some trivia thing from
Okay.
IMDb. That song also plays during Kill Bill, which, again,
Oh,
it's in
all
one of the
right.
Kill Bill movies.
But
I think
that was
Volume 2.
after. That was after.
Right, but
Transformers.
Kill Bill, Yellow and Black.
Ah,
Pursuit.
yeah,
So
okay, interesting.
some
yeah.
say that it was a nod to that. I don't know if that's the
Could
truth,
be,
but
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like Michael Bay
Tarantino
isn't
and
that.
Bay are they like friends?
I
Are
don't
they?
know.
I don't
I'm
know.
not in on that.
Maybe
stuff.
they play poker. I don't know.
No, I don't know.
So-
Optimus Prime is a Peterbilt 379, just a truck,
Yeah.
which is interesting. He used to be a cab over. Back in
camera?
the 80s, he was a cab over truck. What?
As long as he wasn't a cube van or something.
Yeah,
something
no,
lame
no.
like that.
He was always a semi.
Okay.
But they
That's fine.
said they switched him to a Peterbilt because it had
Yeah.
the bigger nose on it.
All right. I'll let them
and-
do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Optimus Prime was taller, and I'm like, are you really worried about like Jazz is a tiny little
physics.
sports car, and he's like 2.5 stories tall.
I know,
Like,
that's what I mean.
well, no, and you know what I read online because they're
Uh,
like, well, with the cab over, he'd be 28 feet tall, but with the nose, it was 32 feet tall. I'm like,
Oh,
just
jeez.
find 6 feet. Find the 6 feet if you really
no
need him to be that
kidding.
tall.
Exactly. All right.
Also interesting with that sort of like scaling and stuff.
Yeah.
I know we're kind of jumping back and forth
Oh, that's
between
fine.
trivia
Yeah,
and
okay.
cars.
When did we not?
I know
when did
it's
we
true.
not?
This is the
This would be-
ADHD podcast.
Right. It is.
When the robots are in the background,
Yeah.
they're in slow motion. They
Oh, are they?
slow down their speeds to make them look more menacing. And then when they're closer up, they're actually in faster motion.
Well, they move very quickly. I have to say, this movie is like, it was. I think the target audience for this movie was 12-year-old boys with no attention span whatsoever, which is basically 12-year-old boys.
Which I was going to say, which was me at the time.
Yeah,
Well,
I
10,
mean that's what I
but-
mean. Is that
yeah.
it was that target audience? Oh my gosh!
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course, that was going to be really.
And what's
appealing.
also interesting is no matter what, whenever someone says a big blockbuster movie,
Yeah.
not even the
Yeah.
name, just a big blockbuster
Yeah.
movie, I automatically think Transformers.
Do you really?
Yeah, that's like my this is my default quintessential
That's-
big blockbuster movie.
Yeah, that
It's
dates
some-
me. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, what's
Because
your
I-
big blockbuster movie?
Jaws.
Oh, okay. Well,
Jaws was, but like that's the 70s. So
yeah. Well,
So
I
now
can
we're
see that.
talking-
Yeah.
It was, but still, okay.
2006 GMC Top Kick. That was Ironhide. That
Oh,
truck,
yeah, right.
That truck's a real truck.
So I'm glad you said that because I noticed the name because I was looking at names and
Mhm.
stuff. Did not know that Top Kick was actually something.
I did not know the name of that truck
Really?
until
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's very interesting seeing pre-2008 GM because
Ah.
GM got hit real hard in the recession.
Okay.
I mean, the government told GM that they had to cut half of their brands. That's why we lost Pontiac. That's why, well,
Wow.
Oldsmobile was on its way out anyway. But that's why we lost Hummer. We lost Pontiac. We lost Saab. Saab was owned by GM. So it's interesting that, like, the GMC Top Kick was that truck that's, like, stock, was, like, 8 feet off the ground.
okay.
You know, that big black pickup truck.
Yeah.
That was something they just sold.
Wow.
The Hummer H2 was something they just sold. And
Hmm.
now, you know, that's something you would never see post 2008,
Oh right. Yeah.
which
True.
is just
true.
very interesting. Speaking of which, man, I'm forgetting his name. Ratchet. Ratchet was the 2003 Hummer H2. He was the Hummer ambulance.
Right. Yeah. He's a bad guy, right? Or
No, he was a good guy.
Is he a
He
good
was the
guy?
medic for the Autobots.
Oh right.
There's only like 3 bad guys in this movie.
the Decepticon guys.
Yeah, there's Megatron, Starscream, and the Scorpion.
Is that it? No, there's more.
Well,
than
and
that.
the little frenzy guy.
Oh,
And
that-
Barricade. Never mind. I totally lied to you. There's way more.
There's 3. No 12.
Yeah,
So
it's fine. Math wasn't my strong
Right.
suit.
Neither mine. So.
2007 Pontiac Solstice. So that was Jazz,
Right.
which I thought was very interesting. When Jazz picks his car,
Yeah.
it's on that rotating
Yeah.
platform.
Yeah.
But it's in a Cadillac Hummer Pontiac dealer. It's in
Right,
one of the combined dealerships.
Yeah.
He climbs over the Cadillac logo, which I just
Yeah.
thought was interesting. Also,
Yeah.
very small part, but there's a Cadillac scene where a girl's driving and she's like honking her horn, and the steering wheel
Yeah.
comes out.
Yes.
Small, very small cameo of a Cadillac, but yeah.
Notice. Yeah, I did
Thought that
remember
was
that.
interesting.
Did remember that scene, and it's
Um,
funny too. I actually liked the Solstice. I always loved the Solstice.
You know what engine is in the Solstice?
No.
2.4 liter Ecotec, baby.
Really?
Same as our Pontiac G6. Same exact motor as our Pontiac G6.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Yeah, wow,
I've never
yeah.
driven a Solstice, but I
Yeah.
drove a Miata with that engine swapped into it.
Yeah.
And when it's paired up to a manual transmission, it's
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Well, see, that's a.
It's a lot of fun.
I just thought it was a cool looking car. It was very similar to, what was that?
Saturn Sky.
Saturn Sky. That's
Same
right.
car.
You got
Same exact car.
Yeah.
Same end. I mean, oh yeah, Saturn we lost in
Saturn.
2008
Yeah.
as well.
yeah. Are you gonna do an in memoriam? And
Yeah.
you're gonna say all
in the arms of an angel.
I will remember.
You know,
you.
Bella and I actually had a conversation this
It's
weekend.
and do some slow motion shots of
Yeah,
Saturn-
Pontiac and Saturn, and well,
Yeah.
Bella and I had a conversation this weekend about
Yeah.
never name your car after a planet.
Why?
Saturn went out of business.
Right.
Geo, named after America.
What about
you know,
Mercury?
or
Oh,
not
yeah,
not
wow.
America. Jeez, named after the world. Geo, like the planet. Their logo was a globe.
Right.
Went out of business. So Geo and Saturn went out, and then why can't I think of the third one?
Mercury.
Mercury went
Yeah,
out of business.
Mercury.
Yes.
There's never been a Venus car, right? There's never been
Not that I'm aware of, or
Mars-
Neptune, or
Mars car.
Pluto.
Mars would be kind of a cool. Jupiter would be kind of a cool.
It'd be a cool trim level. I could see a Tesla having like a Saturn, or not Saturn. I could see
I'll say.
Tesla having like a Neptune trim level, maybe a blue
Yeah.
interior, because
The
Elon
Neptune,
Musk
yeah,
is so
that's-
obsessed with the stars.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always thought the Pontiac Solstice was really cool. The 2.4 liter Ecotec
always
is
liked
actually
that.
not a bad engine when it's not shoved into
Oh,
a
it's
Pontiac
right.
G6.
Yeah. Well, we know
I
that.
mean, it makes 170 horsepower. I mean, you think about that.
Well, it was. You know what? Actually, the G6 was not bad at all, except it had the limiter on it. You could not.
yeah, you couldn't
push
take it past 110.
No, you couldn't.
And sources say, I don't know about this, but my
Yeah?
Mazda 3,
Really? Well, yeah?
according to certain sources, will do
Uh-huh.
126 with no
really?
limiter.
Wow. I don't know about
My
those
source hasn't
sources.
found that limiter yet. The limiter so far is my self-consciousness and my fear.
Yeah.
And
uh-huh.
my source also says the car sits beautifully doing that speed.
I'm sure. Not
Not even a single wiggle.
sure
I
it
didn't
does.
even notice, except for
Not
the sound.
like the G6, but the
Um,
G6 was fine.
No, we took
I
it to
had no-
193,000
I-
miles. That thing was a champ,
I
honestly.
had no problem with the G6 at all, Pontiac G6, and it was fine. It
Yeah.
was reliable and stuff like that for the most part. I mean, we did have a bunch of problems, but
Yeah.
overall it was fine.
I mean, never major problems. The only time
No.
it ever got stranded was that time that you tried to jump it and then just killed everything.
I did. I know that was bad. I
We were in a McDonald's parking lot. We had 2 dead cars because
Yeah.
we tried to jump it with the other one
Yeah.
that killed the other.
yeah, it was really bad.
Oh man.
And the steering went. Do you remember that? The
Oh
steering,
yeah,
because
that was
it's
before I
electric,
really
it's
had
by
my
wire, yeah.
license.
That
Yeah,
was,
because it had
drive-by
electric
wire.
power steering.
Yes, electric power steering. That's
hate
right.
electric power
And
steering.
that was really weird because of the steering wheel started to shudder on its own, even though
Yeah.
you were driving straight.
That's what I worry about with my Mazda.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
even
just
our
weird.
every
And
yeah.
all of a sudden you'd be like, "Oh, what's going on?"
Yeah.
All right, so about the movie.
Last one is the 2007 Saleen Mustang police car, which was Barricade, which was such
Yeah.
a cool car.
Yeah.
And another iconic moment
Mm-hmm.
is if you notice on the side of the car, it's finished to look like a Los Angeles
Right.
police car. It
doesn't
say.
It doesn't say to serve and protect.
It says to punish and enslave.
Yes.
Which when I noticed that in the movie, I was like, "Oh, that's so cool! Like
Yeah.
he's the bad guy and he's
Right.
hidden in plain sight.
Right.
He's more than meets the eye." which was the original Transformers tagline
Which,
that they brought up multiple times in the movie.
yeah, they did, and it's so funny too because I was telling you, I watched the credits, and at the very end it said based on Hasbro action figures.
Oh yeah, baby.
And I went, oh, wow, that's a really bizarre statement. That would be like saying, I don't know, it would be like saying, doesn't matter.
Don't you dare say Battleship the movie,
I'm
because
not
then
gonna
they
say
made
ba-
that in
they,
2010.
I know, they made that. Yeah.
But what I found out is that the toys came first in the 80s. The Transformer toys came first.
Oh,
The
yeah,
show
yeah. Mhm.
came after that.
Right.
And then to make this
Yeah.
movie,
Yes.
they had to create the models for the robots first, send that off to Hasbro, and then they wrote the script. And then they wrote
Really?
They
They had to-
made the designs first.
for the models first.
Right. So Hasbro could get a head start because it takes a while to. I mean, they had to make castings,
so
and
they
had to figure out how these characters were going to transform.
Gotcha.
You know.
So that actually
So
they
that
could
was
sell
like
'em.
yeah.
Okay.
But we'll talk about Saline again
because it's
later.
all about the merchandising.
All about the merchandising.
Yeah.
So I have, before we get into some trivia,
Okay.
I did save a Vanity Fair article written by Mark Grassier, Graser. We can actually finally
Good.
quote.
Giving credit where credit is due. Yes.
Business of a Prop, Bumblebee's Camaro in Transformers. So this is just a little excerpt about the Camaro.
Hey, before you do that,
yeah,
can we give a shout out?
Oh, go for it.
No, you go. Go ahead.
No, you gotta say it.
You gotta
Shout out
say
Craig
it.
Lieberman.
Craig Lieberman.
He would have done a fantastic job
He would've.
casting these cars as well.
Craig Lieberman. Yeah.
Craig Lieberman. Okay.
Craig Lieberman.
Okay. Through Bay's close relationship with GM. So apparently he had done a bunch of commercials for them and had a long relationship with General Motors.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which I found interesting.
Yeah,
so basically this article goes into the fact that Bay actually approached GM.
Oh.
Which I always assumed it was the other way around, that GM was like, here's $1 bajillion, put our cars in your movie. It was actually the other way around.
He was not Tyrese, huh?
No, yeah. Through Bay's close relationship with GM, the director was able to talk the car maker into letting him cast a concept vehicle of the company's 5th-gen Camaro as Bumblebee, a vehicle that wasn't going to actually roll into dealerships until 2 years later.
Wow.
But to pay homage to the original Camaro, Bumblebee starts off in the film as a beat-up 1977 second-generation Camaro. While still yellow, it was covered in rust and dings. For the film, GM and Bay's team of vehicle designers used body panels made from the molds of the 2006 concept car that traveled on the auto show circuit that year before and outfitted it to a Holden Monaro. So a Holden Monaro is basically a muscle car from Australia.
Oh.
Holden was owned by GM. They actually just got canceled this year. They stopped making Holdens after like 60 years.
Wow.
I mean, Holden was like the quintessential Australian car. They made like Maloos, which is essentially modern day El Caminos with LS engines. Like literally up until like last year, you could buy. What?
No, an El Camino?
Yeah. You could buy, it was like a sports car with the back chopped off and had a bed. It was essentially a, do you remember the Pontiac G8?
No.
Okay, cool. Do you remember the more modern GTO, like the mid 2000s GTO?
Mm-hmm.
Picture that with a truck bed.
Really?
Exact same, not exact same chassis, but same engine, same pretty much everything.
Okay.
So this article says Holden. IMDb said that it was on a Pontiac G8 platform. I'm sure it was a mixture, and those platforms are pretty much the same.
Okay.
So I would be surprised if they used a Holden chassis because it's Australian, but whatever. For the I just lost my place. Oh, after the film went to a nearly $710 million worldwide launch for the new franchise for both Paramount and Hasbro, GM also saw interest in the Camaro skyrocket, but it wouldn't go on sale until the 2009 model year. So I thought that was just interesting.
It is very interesting.
That literally it was a concept car, which is so interesting now that it's been, 14 years since this movie came out. Because we look back, like literally I drove one of those Camaros a week ago.
Yeah.
And, it's just a normal car now. When that movie came out, it wasn't even a real car yet.
Yeah, which is crazy to think about. It's halfway, a little bit more than halfway to becoming an antique.
Wow.
25 years. You think about that. So 14 years, that's...
Imagine if they chose like a different GM concept car. Like what if they did an EV1 and then they're like, right. So...
Yeah, Ixnay.
About that.
Yeah, exactly.
So...
God, yikes. No, it's interesting that it's Solstice. That isn't around anymore, is it? The Pontiac Solstice, or can you get them?
No, no. Yeah, Pontiac's gone. Pontiac went out in 2009. Actually, I mean, very briefly into 2010, but 2010 Pontiac G6s are very rare because they made them in January of 2010, and then that's it.
Really?
Yeah. And they also updated the bumpers for that. So if you see a G6 with like, it looks like it has a chiseled jawline in the front. Like, it looks more handsome.
Yeah.
That's a late 2009, early 2010 G6, and those are really rare.
Wow.
There's a girl at my college that used to drive one.
Wow.
She didn't even know what she had. But let's get into trivia here.
Like most women.
Yeah. Typical women.
Yeah.
So most of this, actually, no.
Okay.
Some of this stuff is car related. It's
Okay,
mostly
none of
just
this is
things
car related.
Yeah, there's
All
not a single car.
Okay.
So to keep. So this is number one. This, by the way, this is from IMDb, but in no way sponsored by IMDb.
Yeah. Although we'd love them to.
Although we would love them to. And you know what? If anyone wants to sponsor us, just like Cash App us like $5 and then a read, and we'll seriously read whatever you want.
Oh yeah, totally. We'll do that.
Set up like a PayPal or something. You just send in some money and we'll read it on air.
Except for one person.
Who?
Craig Lieberman.
Craig
we'll do
Lieberman.
it for free.
Free. Okay. Craig Lieberman, we will fly out to you and read whatever you want.
Exactly. So, yes. So, I agree. We would absolutely do that.
Oh, 100%. So, number one, to keep the film... Yeah, I even messed it up. Thanks for listening, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Jeez, I can't talk today. I have too much cake in me.
Yeah. Me too.
I got the cake. Don't you ever forget.
Cake. All right.
Cake nowadays refers to having a big butt. I know you're not in the politically young lexicon.
Okay.
But like,
no.
but like, if I'm like, I got cake, that means
cake.
I got a big booty. You know
All
what I mean?
right. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why it's that. I don't know why
I
that's
don't
the
have
pastry
cake,
of
but
choice.
I just want to let you know
we're
that.
not blessed with the cake in this family. So we have to consume it.
Yes.
To keep the film realistic and under budget, the U.S. Department of Defense provided their support for the film's production, the largest project they had assisted on since Black Hawk Down in 2001. The military provided their vehicles as alternate modes of the Decepticons Starscream and Bone Crusher. They also provided some of their F-22s and CV-22 aircrafts to be filmed, the first time these planes had ever been seen in a feature film besides Hulk. So I don't know why that little caveat was in there, but whatever.
Okay.
Soldiers, real soldiers.
Hulk fly plane.
Hulk fly F-22 graciously donated from the Department of Defense.
That's a long sentence for Hulk. I want you to know that.
You got to get those ad reads in, though. I know that game.
That's right.
Soldiers served as extras, and authentic uniforms were provided for the actors. In return for the favor, the filmmakers provided an advanced screening of the film for the soldiers free of charge.
Oh, neat.
So the
That's
U.S.
cool.
military got to see the movie early.
Yeah.
In return, so Michael Bay could use their fighter jets.
Jeez.
I mean,
wow.
Hey, I will gladly show them all of my private car reviews. I will open up the Shooting Cars channel to them if they give me a couple fighter jets for a few hours.
Well, they can see the next episode early of your
maybe
next car
if they
review,
join
maybe.
Patreon.com.
Right. Exactly. Right.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Okay. Oh, here's another one about the Camaro. So this one has the GTO in it. So since there were no running 2009 Chevy Camaro automobiles during production, Saleen Incorporated, so the company that built that Mustang.
Yeah.
Saleen is like a performance shop, and they actually built the Camaros. Saleen.
Wow.
Right. So Saleen, who normally works on Mustangs, Fords, did Chevy cars for the movie.
Wow, that's wild.
Working with the Pontiac GTO and using Camaro designs from General Motors, was able to build a running Camaro in 30 days.
Jeez.
Which, like, I can't even get my car to run after 2 years, so God bless them. To serve as Bumblebee's alternate mode. Saleen also provided their S281, which is the police car.
Yeah.
That's like their official title, which was a modified Ford Mustang to serve as Barricade's alternate mode. Which I just thought was cool.
Yeah, that's very
cool. It's Saleen, like an actual reputable speed shop, built these cars. It wasn't, Joe in his garage or whatever.
Yeah, that's. Do you know if they still have the cars? I mean, the actual cars that they used in the movie?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of them were wrecked,
I'm
obviously.
sure. Yeah.
But I would like to look into that. So this next one was for you. I know you like the whole animating stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The Transformers possess such a rich level of detail and complexity that it took the ILM animators 38 hours to fill them in a single frame of the film. So one frame took 38 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, the render farm needed for this movie, even though we'll get into it, a lot of practical effects.
Yeah.
I mean, which sometimes might even make it harder. Editing something into an explosion.
True.
And
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't just
it is-
layer that on
No.
top. You know?
It looks really bad
Yeah.
if you do that.
Um,
Trust me, that's
But yeah, I
it's
thought
okay.
that was interesting.
Yeah.
So at around 14 minutes, Bumblebee's original alternate mode in the Transformers 1984 was a Volkswagen Beetle, but this was revised to a 1977 Chevy Camaro. This was because Michael Bay wanted to avoid comparisons with Herbie the Love Bug and felt that the Camaro held a more tough but friendly quality than a Beetle, which is agree to disagree.
Yeah.
I understand the not wanting to be Herbie, but
Yeah.
I think a beetle can be kind of tough. You ever seen like a Dune beetle?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The
with like
Buggy
lifted
Beetles, yeah.
tires.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
they can be
Yeah,
fun. Yeah, I mean the Beetle is truly one of my all-time favorite cars.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
I still
yeah.
have to review one. I've been trying desperately to find an old Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah, they're hard to find.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just would love to drive one or own one. But anyway, yeah. So I get that. I can
As
kinda
you
see-
said, and this is continuing this trivia, as a tribute to the series, a yellow Volkswagen Beetle appears next to Bumblebee at the auto dealership, and as a joke, he damages it.
Yeah.
So Bumblebee damages
right. He slams the
yeah,
door
yeah.
into the other car, and,
Which
yeah.
is a funny little tongue-in-cheek nod at the
Yes.
original.
Yeah.
This one, I mean, we could pretty much figure this one out, but to make the cars appear sentient, stunt drivers wore black clothing and concealed themselves from view, and whenever possible, the cars were also given tinted windows and had their interiors darkened. So a lot of those convoy scenes, they have a heavy window tint on the cars,
Yeah.
just to make them
Well,
see the driver.
Yeah, and that's cool. I mean, I noticed too, when I was, for the police car, there's like a hologram. Oh my gosh! I cannot talk.
Holographic person.
Holographic or hologram person or holographic person or whatever.
Hollow person. Yeah.
There's it's a computer generated person in the seat, and he
Right.
kind of like, there's some like old television sets. Well, you guys don't remember old television sets. But
No, I do. No. I do. Where
it's
a little
staticky
glitchy.
where they
So-
glitches. Thank you. I couldn't
So
think of the word.
the computer generated person for Starscream,
Yeah.
the jet, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which I don't know if I can't remember if it's the same actor for Barricade as well.
It might
But
be.
that guy was literally on the military base, and Michael Bay was like, "Hey, you look stoic and mad. You should be our digital
Really?
pilot."
Wow.
And so to film the movie,
Imagine finding a stoic and mad person in the military.
I know, crazy thought. This guy wanted to be in the movie so bad
Yeah.
that he didn't pay. But I mean, he didn't want it that bad. But he
Yeah.
actually moved his wedding and
oh my gosh.
his what's the after wedding thing? Honeymoon.
Reception?
He moved his wedding and honeymoon so he could film
Wow.
certain shots of the movie,
Wow.
which was impressive. I mean, that's a very forgiving wife, but
Yeah, no kidding. And,
or
and-
husband, or husband.
Yeah, it could
Points
be
my way.
whatever.
But yeah,
but-
you ready for this next one?
Okay, I'm
we have
ready.
to add to the in
all
memoriam.
right, okay, more.
Yeah, in the get the arms and the angels ready.
I will remember you.
At around 1 hour 50 minutes, that was a real truck of Furbies that was blown up in the movie. Yeah.
Truck of Furbies.
Yeah, which I didn't even know
really?
Furbies still existed in
Oh my
07. That
gosh.
was like late 90s, early 2000s.
Oh my gosh, I remember we had to fight to get you guys a Furby.
It was a little black one, too.
Yeah, we got a little black Furby, which was awesome, and it was really creepy at the same time.
Yeah.
But we had to really struggle to find one, and I have no idea where it is. I think we probably threw it out or something.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, they're worth nothing. now.
Just like
Oh.
most of your memories in your childhood.
Yeah,
you threw
it's-
everything
yeah,
out.
just
Yeah.
toss away. So at the same time, Sam, 1 hour 50 minutes. The sequence where Bone Crusher smashes a bus in half was an actual stunt performed live. The bus was constructed with a split line and had cables built in, which held the bus together until they were cut. So as well as the explosives and cannons. So all of those crashes on the highway
Yeah.
were done practically, and then they just added the transformer into it. So
Wow,
that
yeah.
bus splitting in half, the cars
Yeah.
flipping up, blowing up, all done. Most of those vehicles provided by GM. If you notice, they're like Saturns,
Oh, okay,
Chevy
yeah,
Aveos,
yeah,
like
yeah.
but
Yeah.
all done practically.
That is interesting because I did wonder about that. I was very impressed by all of the stunts.
Wow, these
obviously.
computer graphics are crazy. They're real, Dad.
They're realistic. Yeah. So it's I definitely I think that's really awesome when they do practicals. I don't know why they couldn't do practicals for the robots. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if they had
I don't get it.
puppets like Ed 209 or whatever, oh man,
Imagine if they
claymation.
Imagine if they had really bad puppets.
Oh man,
And there was like strings and sticks.
I
and
do
stuff.
want to see the cut of, because obviously the robots weren't real.
Yeah.
They had, I forget the actor's name, but they had a very menacing large actor sometimes just stand up on stilts for when they're talking to which is a pretty common film trick. Usually they use like tennis balls or something for the eyesight of the actors.
Right. Which when you see the real thing is hilarious.
Right. That's what I want to
before
see.
they change
I want
it
to see
out,
the Transformers cut where it's a guy on stilts and he's like, whoosh,
Well, usually because it's
I'm Optimus Prime.
It's like a guy in a skin tight green screen suit with
it's
tennis
not
balls
flattering,
stuck to him. No, it's not flattering. It's not a good look for anybody. But yeah.
More trivia here. To save money, the filmmakers entered a production deal with General Motors, saving about $3 million, which does not sound like a whole lot, honestly.
That doesn't.
The company provided the alternate modes of the Autobots. In fact, they provided 3 versions of each car in the event that some of them would be crashed or blown up, and also provided around 200 cars that were blown up in the Battle of Mission City.
Wow.
Yeah, so they provided a lot of like the, I don't know if you consider it like B cars or like, just background cars.
Yeah, there was a lot of cars damaged.
Oh, another very quotable line that I totally forgot about, when Megan Fox drives the tow truck and Bumblebee's on the back because he got ripped in half.
Yeah.
The I'll drive, you shoot. Yeah. Oh, man. What a moment.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then she's like slamming it in reverse and Bumblebee's shooting on the back of the tow truck. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, and I think it was. I did appreciate the story bit behind her character knowing about cars because she would steal cars with her dad, and she knew about the tow trucks because she probably drove a tow truck.
Right.
That kind of stuff. Okay.
See, I didn't care for that part.
Really?
I was like, whatever. Yeah.
Well,
I have a. You have a juvie record.
Right.
Oh, I kind of don't want to date you anymore.
Right, exactly.
What?
I was laughing at that because he's like, Sam is like, I don't know, how do you explain? He's like in disgust.
Yeah.
He's like, oh,
you've
got
a
a
juvie record.
Juvie record.
And she was like, what if you stand up for something in your life? Okay.
And she said it exactly like that in that tone
Shut
of
up.
voice.
We're dealing with like alien robots. Can you calm down for a second?
Exactly. Like that means anything right now. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah. These last ones are just, these last trivia facts are just great. I love them.
Okay.
I mean, this one, not so much, but
except for this one,
the
which
last,
I will share with you right now.
The last two.
Yeah.
Michael Bay. That's sorry, wrong one. Ratchet's alternate mode is a Hummer H2 search and rescue vehicle. This vehicle was an original Hummer built from scratch for the film and modified to be sturdier. The vehicle was also painted green to give it a distinct look. However, Ratchet in the cartoons, as well as later on, was red and white. So I just thought that was interesting that they built their own Hummer for that. Like,
yeah, it is interesting.
There wasn't a search and rescue Hummer.
Was it an H2?
Yeah, it was an H2, yeah.
Do you know how we got the Hummer in the United States?
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Who? What?
You're the one who told me.
Did I?
Yeah,
okay.
You did, which was very cool.
Call back to the movie Cars.
Yes,
yeah.
Episode whatever.
So let me get the other lame one out of here. Jazz's
okay.
original alternate from the Transformers in 1984 was a Porsche sports car, but this was revised to be the Pontiac Solstice, obviously because of the GM deal.
Yeah.
As a tribute to the series, Ron Witwicky teases Sam by driving him through a Porsche dealership before taking him to the used car lot.
Yeah.
That's what I said earlier.
So if it was GM, why wouldn't they use like a Corvette?
Good point.
I mean, if you want to do a sports car, geez, that's like
that's like
GM's
the one
super sports car.
That I don't have an answer to that.
Yeah, maybe they just.
However, remember that Michael Bay said what?
Maybe they were pushing the Solstice.
For Jazz? Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because I was thinking Bumblebee, and he was like, he wanted this sort of humble, but
Yeah,
for Jazz, I'm surprised. They must have been trying to push the Solstice, or maybe Jazz was.
I don't know.
I feel like a Corvette would have actually been a better.
Yeah.
Craig Lieberman wouldn't have made that. Wouldn't have made that issue or
No way.
that mistake.
No,
No
Craig
way.
is above that. Craig doesn't make those mistakes.
Two more here.
Yeah.
Michael Bay wanted Steve Buscemi to play Agent Simmons, but Buscemi was unavailable due to shooting other films.
Yeah, he's like in every film, by the way, Steve Buscemi. Yeah, he is.
I just think he's such a funny Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, you've probably seen the South Park episodes with Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
They're pretty hilarious. But yeah, Steve Buscemi, the character obviously is like way over the top, as far as like we're great and awesome and you guys are terrible and trying to be tough guys.
Which it's funny because in the third movie,
Yeah.
that guy is like disgraced ex-military.
Yeah.
And he's like a millionaire conspiracy theorist.
I thought that was the second movie. That's a third movie?
Well, it might happen in the second movie.
Okay.
I recently watched the third movie.
Okay.
And so
right.
he's like at a book signing and he's like all like rich and he's in the back of this convertible
All right. Well,
Maybach
maybe.
and
I don't know.
whatever.
I think he's mentioned. I think like
that probably happens in the second one. There's probably that transition.
Yes.
Because the third one, he just starts off as this like disgraced billionaire.
Well, I think in the second one, he actually is a disgraced military or Secret Service guy, Sector 7 guy. And like he works at I think he works at a bookstore, works in the back of a bookstore or something. And yeah, he's a very lowly character, but he, believes in all these conspiracy things and whatever. So yeah, that might be it.
Last one.
Okay.
So at around 2 hours and 5 minutes, the human that Megatron flicks away is Michael Bay. So where he's like disgusting and he flicks that human, that's Michael Bay.
What?
Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why Michael Bay felt the need. I guess he wanted to put himself in the movie, and he gets not even a quarter second of screen time. He literally gets flicked by a giant robot and killed. But yeah, so that's my last trivia fact.
Okay,
that's
right.
Michael Bay's
I might have
cameo.
to actually go back and look at that.
Yeah,
and
you're not
just
gonna,
see.
but I know you want to. You're not gonna do that. Come on.
Well, you know me. I may have some. I don't know. I may have some kicking back time here coming up. So
Yeah, it's true.
It's possible. So, yeah, I might. I don't know. I might take a look at that, but I doubt it. You're right. You know me. You know me. I'm just gonna be like, yeah.
No,
okay,
well, I
whatever.
just know myself because I'm like the amount of times like I'm gonna go back and look at that, and then I'm like, no, I'm not. There's a million other things I could and should be doing.
No, I'll be honest. I'm not gonna do that. No.
Well,
no.
also you just didn't like this movie. So done with trivia, done with
all
cars. What are your final thoughts here?
We're at 52, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like we said,
so
shorter, speedy episode.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I got about 15. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So final thoughts. Good question.
This is really where we defer. Because
Yeah.
okay, would you change the channel? Because I would stop what I'm doing and start watching.
See, now that's a good question. I would not stop what I was doing, but I also wouldn't change the channel.
Just leave it on.
I would just leave it on, and then I would continue staring at the paint and watching it dry, as opposed to watching the movie. No,
I mean,
would not,
I
not
would-
like that. Not like that.
I
I'm kidding.
would keep it on just for the soundtrack.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know, yeah.
Linkin Park.
Yeah,
kills
I know,
this
I know,
movie.
I know.
I mean, like, and just a dun 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 dun
Yeah,
dun
yeah,
dun
yeah.
dun dun
No,
dun
no,
dun
no,
dun dun dun
Okay, yeah,
dun
that's
dun
right.
dun dun
Okay,
dun dun dun
I
dun.
get the point. I get the point. All right, please don't do that
Please
anymore.
stop.
Please don't do it.
There's someone in their Hyundai accent that's desperately trying to turn down the radio right now. Sorry on your morning
Yeah,
commute.
Right, exactly.
Sorry to ruin your day.
Yeah, or some dog is barking at the radio right now.
Oh yeah,
Or
our
howling
main
through the-
audience of
Yes.
Home Alone dogs.
Yes, Home Alone dogs is really what we're
Yeah.
shooting for. So, no, I actually would. I'd keep it on because I like the music, and there's action. There's plenty of action stuff, and it's occasionally I would glance over, but I wouldn't like stop what I was doing
Yeah.
and go over and watch it. I would keep it on. So I would not turn the channel, but I also wouldn't watch it.
Yeah, I think this is one of my all-time favorites that we've done.
Wow. Okay.
But I think I will
I mean, it's not
willingly
bad.
admit
I'll
willingly admit that it is 99% nostalgia fueled.
Really. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I hadn't seen this if I haven't seen this movie as a kid, I don't think I would care that much about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you came out today, do you think it would be as big of a deal to you? Because nostalgia plays a huge part in movies.
I think
mean,
I would go
really
see
big.
it because I'm always interested to go watch car movies.
Yeah.
And, it's cool seeing the robots change and stuff. But
Well,
I don't think it would have as big of... I think I would see it and then go home and not really think too much about it.
Yeah. But you grew up with it. That's
Right.
Right.
And
exactly, yeah.
when the third movie came out,
Yeah.
it's in Chicago.
Yeah,
And
right.
it is the only movie to
Mhm.
date
Yeah.
that I have seen twice in the movie theater.
Have you really?
In the theater. I got a ticket to go see it twice.
The only movie in the theater that you've seen
Only
twice?
movie I've ever gone to a theater twice, 2 different times to go watch.
You know what? I don't know. The only movie I've seen 3 times in a movie theater,
Mhm.
Footloose. The original Footloose.
Oh,
Okay?
wow, okay.
I'm an
this
old man.
is 1924?
25.
Was this
1925.
Chaplin?
It's-
Oh, yeah.
It was black and white.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a talkie. It was
Footloose, I'm angry. I'm angry at my parents. I'm going to dance in this. He drove his Model T to a empty factory. Actually, there probably weren't any empty factories. This was like end of the Industrial Revolution.
They're a full factory.
Yeah, full factories. Full of children, nevertheless.
I knew you were going to say that.
No, I think was it
I gotta go
1907 were the child labor laws?
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's crazy labor laws. Why can't children be
So stupid. If they
It's
want to
so
work, let them work.
Let 'em work.
Let the kids work.
Come on.
Come
Come on. What are they going to do?
on.
Go to school and learn something?
Yeah,
Come
it's
on.
stupid.
Yeah. Now anyway. So, yeah, so I watched that movie 3 times because I watched it. I was out in California visiting a friend,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I was maybe 16 at the time. Anyway, so we were out in California. We were like, oh, what are you going to do? Let's watch a movie. So we saw Footloose. And then I came back, and some friends wanted to see Footloose, and
Yeah.
we saw that. And then I had seen it, I think, by myself once. And so it was bizarre. I had seen this movie 3 times, and, so anyway, but there are very, very few movies.
Yeah.
Jeez, I can't talk.
What was in this cake we
I
had?
don't know. Well,
It's like,
it
it's
is.
stirring our speech. What'd you put in this cake?
Well, it is a morphine cake.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, wow.
and not morphine like Transformers.
Wah, 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 wah. I'm gonna start. You're gonna come into my room. I'm gonna be a go-kart, just sitting in the middle of the room. No, he transformed.
So yeah, what would your transformation character be? What would
Well,
you
here's the
transform
thing: is
into?
that
Probably be an RX-7.
well,
Yeah, you would be. You'd be an RX-7.
but
Mazda
we have to deal
know.
with the height and weight. What's something that's my height and weight? I can't. An
a
RX-7
go-kart,
is
yeah.
like 15 feet long.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that tall. It's like 43 inches tall. But like,
Yeah,
no,
it's true.
It's
It's-
taller than that. But
it's-
it's still it's like
it's pretty short.
it's like yeah, it's under mid chest for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'd
That would
like
be
a
a go-kart.
lawnmower
It would be a Shriner car. It would be one of those little Shriner cars that the
that they ride
that
around
they
in.
ride around in the parades.
I would be something super safe.
Love
like
the Shriners, by the way.
Oh,
A
yeah.
shout out to the Shriners. Love the Shriners.
Yeah, I'd be something super safe like a lawnmower. You know, they don't
Yeah.
really burst into flames at all. Or
Oh,
yeah, I
you
know.
missed
I
it.
was told
You
this story.
missed it.
I was
Yeah.
out of town this weekend, and
Yes.
apparently our lawnmower caught
yes.
fire
It
in
re-
real life.
In real life, it
You know what
burst
it-
into flames. It was truly scary.
Hey, I'll go on record. Worst transformer ever. Oh, it transformed into a panicky situation and a burnt husk. Worst transformer to date.
That was a bad. Yeah, that
You know
was
what?
bad.
On
That's
par
bad.
though with my RX-7 transformed into a paperweight over 2 years.
No, that is
so.
true. That is true. Well, I have to say though, the red RX-7 is transformed into this entire house piece.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah,
literally.
it's a moving art
around-
project.
yes,
Don't question
it
my
is.
my theories.
There's pieces of it in the shed. There's pieces of
Yes.
it in the attic.
Yes.
There's pieces of it in the garage. There's pieces of it in the basement. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
nearly every room in this house has a piece of the RX-7.
Yeah,
in
my
it.
front fender's up in my room.
Yeah, exactly.
I have wheels too in RX-7 in my room, but not my RX-7.
Yeah, some guy named Louie that
Yeah,
you just told
no,
us.
Where I buy? Who did I buy those wheels off of? They're the original SA waffle wheels.
Yeah.
That you had on your RX-7.
Yeah.
I bought them off Danny, I think. I don't know.
I wish
whatever.
Maxwell Street was still around. You could get anything on Maxwell Street.
Yeah. In Chicago?
Yes.
Which we're in the Hoover Dam right now, so that's far away.
That is. All right, let me. I'm doing water sounds like we're in the.
Oh,
under the Hoover
yeah.
Dam.
Which we've
Okay.
been to the Hoover Dam.
We have been to the Hoover Dam.
Who
which was very
knew
cool.
that there was
That's
the
very cool.
Allspark down there?
Yes,
Who
the
knew?
Allspark.
We should have taken a picture down there.
Okay, so here's the thing I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You got the Allspark down there. You also have a giant frozen robot, right?
Yeah, why keep them so close?
Well, okay. So I'm not even concerned about that. Okay. Here's my.
I like how the military's like running out of space.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know, like get
Well-
some pods. Get one of those pod things delivered. Jeez.
You mean the thing that you throw all your crap into?
Yeah,
and
the
they
shipping
move away?
container
The
they
shipping
drop
container.
off and then they pick
Yeah,
it up
that
for
sounds
like
like a good
$9 or
idea.
whatever.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So, but my concern is, you've got a giant robot
Mm-hmm.
with an Allspark in it, or,
Mhm.
or by it, or wherever, and you've got it frozen. Okay. How do you build around that? How do you build around a giant robot? How does
Yeah.
all of the workers going home at night not go, hey, honey, because
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
the 1930s or 40s or whatever.
Yeah, it's
go,
like 34 or something.
hey, Toots, how you doing?
Yeah.
Get me a beer, and I just was working on Megatron or something. Or
No, it
Ultron,
wouldn't be,
whatever.
hey, Toots, how you doing? It would be, hey,
Oh, geez.
just slapped. I
That's a lot
assume
of-
that's how life
I-
was before the 1980s,
Well, it was all in-
just abusing women
it
and
was all in
smoking
black
cigarettes.
and white. All in black
Smoking
and white.
Lucky Strikes.
Yeah, smoking Lucky. See,
Um,
yeah.
But yeah, no, and also, yeah. Also, I love the fact that they're like, we're keeping him frozen, and there's like one little fogger,
Yeah.
like
a
up
guy-
at the top. It's like one little air vent.
There's a guy with an upside down can of air duster, that
Yeah.
gets really cold when you
Yeah.
spray it. Yeah. That's about as much as they were
Yeah.
dusting him with air.
Like
Frozen
that
air.
was
Yeah,
the
it wasn't-
worst way to store it. He's
Yeah.
literally out in the middle, and then they just have like vents constantly.
Like if
Like,
that
why
ever
wouldn't you put him in a concealed box, and then you could
Exactly.
actually control the
Yeah.
temperature of that
Yeah.
box? I mean, I'm not a thermodynamics professor, but like,
Yeah.
come on.
Come on. I mean, that's
on.
just general knowledge. So, yes. So, and then remember they said that all of the advances in science and lasers
Mm-hmm.
and everything in aerospace and space stuff came from this Megatron or whatever.
Right.
Is it Megatron?
Megatron, yeah.
No, okay, Megatron. I get like Megatron and the other guy all mixed up. Their
You
names
can't
are
even
very
name the
similar.
other guy. How do you get it mixed up? You only remembered one name. It's like I always mix up the name for hot dogs. What do you call them? Hot dogs? It's not mixing it up. Jeez.
There's Megatron and Ultrasonic, right?
Ooh.
There's
Don't
Meg-
test me like this. I
there's
didn't study.
Megatron, and then there's
Soundwave.
No, there's Megatron.
Optimus
right.
Prime.
Optimus Prime.
Jeez.
See, they sound exactly alike.
Optimus Prime.
They
and
sound
Megatron,
exactly alike. Megatron,
mean,
Ultimate
that's fair.
Optimus, Ultimate Fighter. So
UFC. Yep, that's it.
Optimus Prime.
So that's Transformers. We got to run here.
Yeah.
We
actually,
have
got
a meeting
couple
with
minutes.
Netflix to sign our
Ye-
podcast, so we got to run.
Yeah.
I actually I traded in my Tesla for a Bentley. So we're not taking this podcasting thing too seriously. Oh,
No.
wink. Don't worry, we haven't lost who we are. Wink. We've been watching these movies on 800-inch TVs. We've actually just been renting out the Rose Bowl.
That's
and
very
watching
much,
it on the Jumbotron.
It's actually like
There's
800,
so much money.
800 millimeter. 800 millimeter. My kidney stone is larger than the TV screen. Let me tell you. Ba-dum-bum.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah.
Next movie.
Next
Your
movie.
pick.
Oh, jeez. Next movie. All right, hold on a second. Let me scan the library here really
Scanning. Scanning. Beep boop beep. Beep boop
quick.
beep. Scan complete.
I was gonna say.
Oh
Oh
God.
gosh. All right. I
We
was
should
gonna
not
say.
eat cake before this. We're too giggly tonight.
Yeah. So I was gonna say.
Oh God.
I was gonna say Gumball Rally, but
No.
already went
God, no.
no. But yeah, no, you liked it more than you liked Cannonball Run. I was gonna say Cannonball
Just
Run.
'cause I
but was
liked
like,
it doesn't mean it's still good.
All right, fine, whatever. So we're not gonna do that one, but we are gonna do another road movie with Burt Reynolds.
Cannonball Run too.
Cannonball. I think No, Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Eastbound and down.
Or Westbound and Down.
Or Westbound and Down.
We're going to talk about that.
One of the conversations that sparked this podcast.
Yes,
I'm sorry it
exactly.
took us 9 episodes to actually get to it.
Exactly. So we're gonna.
That's like the perfect metaphor for this podcast. Though.
It is.
We literally had a conversation about Eastbound and Down versus Westbound and Down.
Right.
We were talking about car movies.
Boom.
And I had mentioned that I wanted to do a
Done.
car movie podcast.
Yeah.
And then we're like, yeah, that's perfect. And then 9 episodes later, like literally over 9 hours of content, probably over 10, 11, 12 hours of
Probably
content.
over 10, yeah.
We're finally going to get to the debate. Is it Westbound and Down? Is it Eastbound and Down?
Yeah.
We don't know. We will answer that on the next podcast.
So you got to stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Don't you dare turn that radio dial in that 1997 Geo Metro.
And if you're a dog,
And if your dog, we are brought to you by Woof Woof Woof.
right, exactly. All right, sounds good.
Thank
We
you so
gotta
much for
fly.
listening. We're gonna get a lot of mustaches on this next one.
Yes, we are.
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds. Yeah,
Not a beer.
That's the second Burt Reynolds car movie
Oh yeah,
that we've done.
but
so
it won't
yeah.
be our last. Take
No,
care.
it won't be. All right.